Hey everyone, welcome to Reality TV News Update, the place where we bring you the latest updates, fun moments, and behind-the-scenes stories you won't want to miss. The Big Brother 27 jury house has been a hotbed of raw emotion in recent days, and tensions reached a boiling point during yesterday's confessional session with Keanu and Ava. With the final episodes approaching and the finale looming large, the pressure of reflecting on their moves and missteps seemed to finally crack their facades, revealing deep-seated regrets and confessions that left both fans and fellow jurors stunned. The day started like any other in the jury house, with jurors lounging around, sipping coffee, and replaying the week's eviction drama. Keanu, who'd been relatively quiet since his eviction, appeared noticeably restless. His eyes betrayed a mix of frustration, sadness, and self-recrimination. Sitting across from him, Ava was equally tense, occasionally fiddling with a bracelet, clearly struggling to vocalize thoughts she had been suppressing since leaving the Big Brother house. Keanu's confession. I should have listened to Rachel. It was Keanu who broke the silence first, his voice heavy with regret. Looking back, I keep thinking about Rachel, he admitted, referring to the fan-favorite strategist who'd been eliminated just a few weeks prior. She told me things about alliances, about Vinny, and about who I could really trust. And I didn't listen. I thought I knew better. I was wrong. His confession hung in the air, a poignant moment of vulnerability. Keanu explained that during the heat of the game, he often dismissed advice from others, convinced that his own social instincts would guide him to safety. I thought I had it all figured out, he said. I should have taken her advice more seriously. She saw things I didn't, and ignoring that, it cost me more than I realized. His words drew murmurs from fellow jurors, many of whom had felt the ripple effects of his decisions firsthand. He continued, detailing specific moments where he ignored Rachel's guidance, key nomination strategies, potential veto plays, and even the subtle dynamics within the house that Rachel had warned him about. Each anecdote illustrated how overconfidence can be just as dangerous as being too timid in a game like Big Brother. I look back now and I see it all, he said, almost paint. If I had just listened, maybe I wouldn't be sitting here. Maybe I'd still be playing. And honestly, maybe Vinny wouldn't have been the one to take me out. Ava's heartbreaking admission, why Vinny? The conversation then shifted to Ava, who had been quiet up to this point. She took a deep breath before speaking, her voice shaky but determined. Keanu, I feel the same way. And more than anything, I keep asking myself, why Vinny? Why did it have to be him? Ava recounted the eviction that led to her departure, a night she described as surreal and devastating. She had felt blindsided by Vinny, someone she had considered an ally in the house. She said, I trusted him. I thought we were aligned. I thought we had an unspoken bond, and then he blindsided me. I didn't see it coming. Her confession struck a chord with other jurors, who nodded in sympathy. Many had also been victims of strategic betrayals in the game, and Ava's candid reflection on the emotional toll of being blindsided resonated deeply. She admitted that part of her heartbreak was not just losing in the game, but feeling that personal trust had been broken. I keep replaying that moment, she said, her voice cracking slightly. I should have been more aware. I should have seen the signs. And now, I just keep thinking, why him? Why not someone else? Why Vinny? Her vulnerability added a new layer to the jury house dynamics. What was normally a competitive environment had been replaced, at least temporarily, with raw honesty and emotional exposure. The conversation quickly shifted from strategic regrets to personal ones, and both Keanu and Ava seemed to be grappling with the human cost of a game that often rewards ruthlessness over friendship. The emotional toll on fellow jurors. The impact of Keanu and Ava's confessions wasn't limited to just themselves. Other jurors reflected on how they had handled or mishandled their exits. Many admitted that hearing them articulate their regrets so openly made them rethink their own decisions during the season. For some, it was a reminder that the game is as much about relationships as it is about strategy. For others, it was a cautionary tale about the dangers of underestimating fellow players. Rachel, though absent from the house, became a central figure in the conversation. Keanu's repeated references to her insight underscored her influence even after her eviction. Jurors debated whether her advice could have changed the trajectory of the game for multiple players had it been heeded. "She saw the cracks in everyone," Keanu said, shaking his head. "I wish I had listened before it was too late." Strategic reflections and regrets. Beyond the emotional confessions, both Keanu and Ava also reflected strategically, dissecting where they went wrong in the game. Keanu admitted that his failure to read social cues had been his undoing. He said, "I was too focused on making bold moves. I didn't think enough about the relationships I was burning in the process. I misread loyalty, and I misread intentions. Big mistake." Ava, meanwhile, discussed her approach to alliance building and decision-making. She admitted that her inability to fully trust her instincts and her misplaced trust in Vinny had cost her the game. She said, "I tried to play it safe in some ways, but in other ways I was reckless. I let fear and emotion cloud my judgment, and it backfired." Both confessions painted a picture of players caught between strategy and emotion, highlighting the delicate balance that defines Big Brother gameplay. The jury house became less of a critique chamber and more of a reflective space where players confronted their own flaws and acknowledged the role of others in shaping their fates. Lessons learned and moving forward. Despite the heartbreak and regrets, both Keanu and Ava emphasized the lessons they had learned from their time on Big Brother. Keanu spoke about humility, acknowledging that overconfidence can be as damaging as being too timid. Ava focused on trust and awareness, noting that even the most carefully planned moves can unravel if emotional intelligence is ignored. Keanu said, "I know I can't change the past, but I can learn from it. I can take this experience and grow. That's what Big Brother taught me." Ava nodded and added, "And I've learned that it's okay to feel the pain of being blindsided. It's okay to make mistakes, but you have to own them, and you have to learn from them. That's what the game and life is all about." Their confessions, while heartbreaking, were also cathartic. They allowed both Keanu and Ava to process their experiences, acknowledge their mistakes, and share the human side of a game often defined by strategy and manipulation. Final thoughts: why Vinny? The lingering question for Ava, why Vinny, remained a focal point of discussion throughout the confessional session. Her inability to fully understand Vinny's motivations added a layer of complexity to her reflections, but Keanu offered a perspective that helped contextualize the betrayal. He said, "Vinny played his game. It wasn't personal, even if it felt like it. That's just the nature of Big Brother. People make the moves that give them the best shot at winning." The admission did not erase the pain, but it offered some clarity. Ava began to recognize that Vinny's actions, while shocking, were part of the competitive landscape she had willingly entered. Accepting that reality allowed her to shift her focus from regret to learning, from heartbreak to resilience. The jury house atmosphere post-confession. After the confessions, the mood in the jury house was noticeably different. The tension that had been building since the season began gave way to introspection and empathy. Jurors engaged in deeper conversations about loyalty, strategy, and personal growth, influenced by Keanu and Ava's heartfelt admissions. The confessional session had transformed into a moment of connection, reminding everyone that behind the scheming and strategic gameplay were real people, facing real consequences and emotions. Conclusion: a heartbreaking yet powerful moment. Keanu and Ava's confessions in the BB27 jury house offered fans and fellow jurors alike a glimpse into the emotional toll of the game. Their candid reflections, particularly the admission of ignoring Rachel's advice and the heartbreak over Vinny's betrayal, underscored the complexity of Big Brother gameplay. While both jurors left the house earlier than they had hoped, their honesty and vulnerability left a lasting impression. They reminded everyone that in a game built on manipulation and strategy, the human element, the friendships, betrayals, and regrets, remains the most compelling aspect of all. As the finale draws near, one thing is clear: Keanu and Ava's heartbreaking confessions will resonate not just as moments of personal reflection, but as cautionary tales for future players,
illustrating the delicate balance between trust, strategy, and the harsh realities of Big Brother. Fans are left wondering how these reflections will influence the final vote and what lessons the remaining house guests will take to heart as they approach the ultimate
jury
prize.
house was filled with tension and emotion as Keanu and Ava shared some of the most heartbreaking confessions of the season. The atmosphere was heavy as jurors reflected on the game and their own moves, but the focus was on the regrets of Keanu and Ava. Keanu was the first to speak. His eyes showed frustration and sadness as he began to explain what he wished he had done differently. He admitted that he should have listened to Rachel, one of the most strategic players of the season. He had ignored her advice during crucial moments of the game, thinking he knew better, but looking back, he realized that ignoring her guidance had cost him. He described specific moments when Rachel had warned him about alliances and house dynamics, but he had been too confident in his own instincts. He said that he thought he could navigate the house without listening to anyone else, but that approach had backfired. He said that he now understood that Rachel had seen things he could not, and her advice could have changed the course of his game. Keanu said that ignoring Rachel had consequences beyond just strategy. It had affected his relationships with other house guests and his ability to make the best moves. He admitted that he had been too focused on short-term power and not enough on building trust and loyalty. He said that being blindsided was painful, but it was a lesson he needed to learn. Ava was next. She had been quiet up to this point, but when she spoke, her words were full of emotion. She asked why Vinny had been the one to betray her. She had trusted him and thought they were allies, and the shock of his move had left her heartbroken. She said that being blindsided by someone she considered a friend was one of the hardest moments of the game. She explained that she had tried to play it safe, but also had made risky moves. She admitted that she had misjudged people and that her trust in Vinny had been misplaced. She said that she kept replaying the eviction night in her mind and asking herself why it happened the way it did. She said that it was difficult to accept, but that it was part of the game. Both Keanu and Ava reflected on the human side of Big Brother. They acknowledged that beyond strategy, there were emotions and relationships at stake. Keanu admitted that he had underestimated the importance of social awareness and trust. Ava realized that even carefully planned moves could fail if she did not pay attention to subtle dynamics. The jurors listened to their confessions, and many felt empathy for them. Both Keanu and Ava were honest about their mistakes and regrets, and their vulnerability created a moment of reflection in the jury house. Their confessions reminded everyone that Big Brother is as much about personal relationships as it is about gameplay. Keanu talked about humility and the lessons he had learned from his experience. He said that overconfidence had been his downfall and that he needed to recognize that advice from others can be valuable. He expressed regret for ignoring Rachel, but also said that he would take the lessons forward in life and in future games. Ava focused on trust and awareness. She said that trusting the wrong person had consequences and that she had learned to be more careful. She acknowledged the pain of being blindsided, but also emphasized that accepting it and learning from it was important. She said that the game had taught her resilience and self-reflection. The question of why Vinny had made the move continued to linger. Ava admitted that she did not fully understand his motivations. She said that it felt personal at the time, but Keanu reminded her that it was part of strategy and not personal. Even though it hurt, she began to see the move as part of the competitive nature of the game. After their confessions, the atmosphere in the jury house changed. Jurors began to reflect on their own decisions and mistakes. The conversation shifted from blame to introspection. Keanu and Ava had opened up about their emotions, and that encouraged others to think more deeply about their own gameplay and relationships. The session also highlighted the role of Rachel, even though she was no longer in the game. Her advice had been insightful, and the fact that it had been ignored showed how one player can influence others even after leaving. The jurors debated how much Rachel's guidance could have changed outcomes if it had been followed. Keanu and Ava also reflected strategically. They talked about what they could have done differently in terms of alliances, nominations, and trust. They admitted that they had misread intentions and had not anticipated key moves. This honesty gave other jurors perspective on how difficult the game really is. Despite the heartbreak, both Keanu and Ava emphasized the lessons they had learned. Keanu spoke about humility and the importance of listening. Ava spoke about trust and emotional awareness. Both acknowledged that Big Brother is a game of strategy, but also a test of human relationships and personal growth. Their confessions were not just about regret, they were about growth. Both jurors showed that even in a competitive environment, players can be reflective and honest. They reminded everyone that losing is not just about failure in the game, but also about the lessons learned and the self-awareness gained. In the end, Keanu and Ava's confessions left a strong impression on the jury house. Their stories of heartbreak over ignored advice and betrayal showed the emotional cost of the game. The confessions also highlighted the importance of trust, strategy, and personal insight as players navigate Big Brother. As the finale approaches, fans are left with a deeper understanding of the game and its impact on the players. Keanu and Ava may have left the house, but their reflections continue to resonate. Their honesty and vulnerability will be remembered as one of the most emotional moments of Big Brother 27. Their confessions remind future players that listening to advice, being aware of social dynamics, and understanding the motivations of others are crucial elements of the game. They also show that the emotional journey of the players is as compelling as the strategy. The Big Brother 27 jury house may be filled with tension and competition, but Keanu and Ava showed that it can also be a place of reflection, learning, and growth. Their heartbreaking confessions will remain a powerful moment for fans and jurors alike as the season comes to a close.